Yo, what's going on? Normally I wouldn't do a live stream with a Sharks game going on right now, but we can see the score, and it's nationally televised. I've already done my recap on something else, by the way, for tomorrow, so enjoy that when it comes out on the Sharks socials. Oh, my own phone was talking to me there. Oops. Anyway, we're going to start the live stream in just a couple minutes, so hang in. All right, so here's my plan. We'll do Q&A for a bit. I'll open up the live chat. I'll bring them up on the screen. And then eventually, maybe at 10 o'clock, we can do phone calls. Or let's just see how this goes for a bit. Let's hit the live chat for as long as we want to, as long as we need to, and then we'll eventually get into some phone calls. But don't call in. We got trap going on here. Don't call in. If you know the number, don't call in until I actually put it up on the screen. I'm not ready for you yet. It's a one-man operation, too, so I'm my own call screener. You all know how that goes. All right, let's, yeah, there we go. We can get into the chat here. Oops, gotta fix that. There we go. Now we're fixed. No one look at the game. Yeah, it's a rough Sharks score right now, and a hard day to go through. Trade deadline tomorrow. But a handful of moves made today. You lose a couple players, a couple favorites. I'm really curious to see what the Jake Wallman return is going to be. It's got to be good from Edmonton. Whatever the little hitch is, whatever the official word is waiting on, I think it's something good for the Sharks. Mike O, what's going on? Glad to have you here. Sharks fangirl, hello. Football JPD. How are you? Hey, Zeus, any chance the A's can sell the naming rights back to Oakland? I think they made that decision a long time ago, and I wish it were a different one. Taking the name with them is what happened from Philadelphia to Kansas City to Oakland, and now Oakland to Las Vegas. There is precedent to it. I'm not going to deny that, but 57 years in Oakland. And I don't think Las Vegas wants the name. I don't think Sacramento cares about the name, wherever they might end up. I don't think anybody else cares about that name. And the colors like Oakland did. So that's an unfortunate part. Dylan Champagne, what's going on? Bamboo Soldier, welcome to the live stream. What's it like working with Drew Remenda? Drew's great. I mean, honestly, I don't want to say he taught me everything, but he taught me a lot. Drew really was a mentor to me early on in not just hockey and learning the intricate ins and outs of a coach and player relationship and what goes on with the team behind the scenes, but also broadcasting. So I credit Drew to anything that I do well in covering hockey. Drew might have had a hand in it. Seriously. I'm here. I realize I took like 10 minutes plus an extra few to get the stream going, to get everybody here. But yeah, Takes a while sometimes. I am back. I'm so angry with myself that I want to do more live streams here on the channel. I said I was going to do more. And then I looked back at the last time I did one. It was March. No, it was December. It's March right now. You know, usually I'm full of energy, full of steam to start off a broadcast. Right now, I'm actually running a little bit empty and starting the stream. That's a dangerous place to be. We need a 20 questions with me and Drew. All right. Who would be asking the questions? Who'd be answering the questions? Who had it worse, Expos or the A's? Similar story, to be quite honest with you. I'll say the hardest part is this from the A's fan base side as I get rid of the music for good. You know, I don't know if the Expos ever came out and had a slogan of like rooted in Montreal. That's the hard part for anybody associated with A's fandom, is that it was promised to you. And there were backups and contingencies to the backups. And none of it was actually pursued or acted upon in the end. So, you know, just really, like, it's one thing if they always, like the Raiders, kind of said, hey, we might leave. We're going to leave. We're leaving. Simple as that. Like, you could see it kind of coming. But with the A's, it was like, hey, we're not leaving. We are rooted in Oakland. We are staying here. We are doing this. And then they still did the exact opposite from it. So that's the hard part. Matt wondering, will you see me covering the A's in any capacity on NBC Sports? No. Simple as that. Luke, what's going on? Ooh, look at your avatar. A lot of people don't put their face, their actual face, as the icon on here. Luke, I can see you right now. It's kind of weird. What do I think of the Marcus Stroman saga? Is that regarding starting games or the bullpen? Brian, I saw if that's what you're talking about, I saw the clip the other day, and he was adamant about, no, I'm a starter. I'm a starter. They kept asking him, but what if I'm a starter? I mean, he's got his motivation. He's got his intention. I can't fault him for that. It's not going to be ultimately his decision where the team wants him. But I can appreciate somebody's conviction to have an idea of what they want to do and convince themselves and tell everybody else, hey, this is what I'm doing. I don't want to even talk about anything else. It's a mindset for sure. This from Mark, and I've got to fix my text here. Look, you can see through the text. I don't know what's going on here. Brody, love your coverage on sports stuff from Seattle. Thoughts on what happens first? NBA expansion, MLB expansion, NHL expansion, and which cities? And let me just say, for anybody that is seeing and understanding the super chat here, Mark, I appreciate that. Helps me, helps this channel go and grow, helps me do new things like the video screen, like I'm constantly tinkering. And obviously it takes a little bit to run the channel. So I appreciate anybody who is part of the super chat. The other part about this is when things get busy here in the live chat, I almost always default to the super chats first. I just feel like that's the right thing to do. So with that established, I think the NBA is probably the closest. They've got their media rights deals squared away in the very near future. Now, you didn't put NFL expansion on here either. I don't think the NFL is far off, but I think the NBA is closest. I think NBA, NFL, then NHL, and then Major League Baseball. That's a great video topic. I should do that on a standalone video sometime. Which league will expand first? And I do think it's the NBA because Las Vegas and Seattle are obvious choices. And in fact, they're perfect cities to begin with because Seattle, you know that the Sonics would play at I almost said Key Arena, Climate Pledge Arena. It's already been totally regutted and rebuilt. The Kraken play there, and that was kind of the idea for the Sonics too. So you've got that. And then even in Las Vegas, I mean, why not go play at T-Mobile Arena for a year or two? If the NBA team really is going to have their own separate arena, does Las Vegas need another separate indoor arena? This would kind of be number 3. Well, number 4, really. You've got the arena where the Aces play. I'm forgetting the name on that one now. Thomas and Mack Center. Then you've got T-Mobile, and then this would be a 4th major indoor arena. But anyway, you've got the infrastructure ready to go in those two cities. They're obvious, I think, wins in terms of the NBA and markets that would do well with the association. Football, I think football is going to do it after the NBA, or they'd be next in line. But I think football is going to go exotic on us. Like, I think the NFL would announce a team like in London and then another one in Mexico City, something like that. I think they would add 2 internationally. In terms of the NHL, they talked a lot about it. They're just at a perfect number at 32. 16 and 16 in the divisions, in the conferences, I should say. 8, 8, 8, and 8 in the divisions. So do you really want to go asymmetrical all over again? And then once you get to 33, you're going to push it to 36. And then, look, baseball with TV contracts and regional deals and national deals falling apart or going away, with the fact that everybody's predicting a labor issue already, like a work stoppage after the 2026 season for a new CBA. I just don't know that baseball really wants to go into something like that yet right now. Here's another one. Perna's mom. Okay. Without mentioning the $900 million, make a pitch to Manfred why Salt Lake is a better fit than Portland for Major League Baseball. We know he's watching. Wow. Okay, so Perna, or Perna's mom. First off, we should establish the $900 million we're talking about here is what Utah set aside about a year ago. Yeah, last February, not last month, but the one prior, February 24. Utah set aside $900 million for 2 things, for the upgrades surrounding the Delta Center for the hockey team and for the Utah Jazz, and then another $900 for any baseball team that wanted to come to Salt Lake City. They had the site all squared away at the State Fair Park, as well as the money to, help grow the infrastructure around it. So your question here is, obviously the $900 million is a huge lure, but why, if you take that away, if everything's even, is Salt Lake City still better than Portland? I don't know. To be honest, I think your point, I think you know my answer. The point is that it's probably not. It's probably similar. They're both not bad. I think they're both good, actually, if I'm being honest, but I don't know that one stands out, to your point, as being way better than the other. I do think the $900 million that's sitting in Utah for a baseball team is super enticing to owners across the board, to Major League Baseball as a business, but we'll see, because I think the Portland group, which is due to have a press conference pretty soon and explain their new renderings, I do think that the Portland group has a lot of built-in money behind the scenes that they're not even talking about yet. To the point that that stadium and the renderings they just came out with, what if they can privately finance all of that? And then they really don't even need to ask for any public money as being part of that process. And the process is a lot easier, and they can self-sustain, whereas Utah, the money is being offered, but that is assuming that a group can't come in and pay for everything themselves. Anyway, there you have it. I think you make a good point, though. I don't know that one is way better than the other. I think they're both good, but I don't know that one stands out well above the other. Do I think the Rays will go to Tampa? Matthew wondering. I think the Rays, at this point, are going to have a hard time staying in St. Pete, in a sense that Tropicana Field, to me, might be totaled. Like a car, it might be done. I don't foresee St. Petersburg wanting to invest anything into that if they don't have to. Contractually, they're kind of obligated to. I think the Rays are hoping that St. Petersburg doesn't do that, because their lease just extends at least another year at this point. To your point about Tampa, it's probably the better location. It's probably the preferred location. I just don't know if the city of Tampa and Hillsborough County, if they can support the stadium, type of deal that maybe St. Pete and Pinellas County were trying to do with the Rays. It's a really interesting situation. I'll be honest. I think Orlando is beckoning as much as anything else is right now for that baseball team. Like, Orlando has got to be knocking down the doors of the Tampa Bay Rays front office. And there's been the report out there that the Rays might be for sale. But, if you own the Rays and there was an opportunity to have some perks for moving to Orlando, why would you sell the team unless it was for a really hefty price, right? A really complimentary price. If it's not $2 billion, then why not take a free opportunity up in Orlando, move your team, maybe get their value up more, and then turn around and sell them? go through the move and then sell them to somebody in Orlando, like the Dreamers. So I'm not saying, trust me, as somebody who's gone through losing a team, I'm not endorsing that way of doing this at all. I'm trying to think like what an ownership group might be thinking about. So anyway, it's a lot to consume right now. There's a lot up in the air. The Tropicana Field situation, the new stadium situation, which is now, 3+ weeks away from having some type of resolution. March 31st, we got to know one way or another. Are they in, or are the Rays in, or are they out with the new stadium project? Tom Buck, one of my favorite creators. Great channel. Check him out. If you like home studio stuff, you will love Tom Buck. Also, big-time hockey guy, but not just a hockey guy. He's a tendy, which makes him slightly crazy, like goalies are never like the rest of us. Tom says, I may have a chance to meet the S.J. Sharkey in a few weeks, and it's very exciting. Tom, let me first fix my, oh wait, why is the, why does, see, now it's bugging me, Tom. Why is my screen cutting off your, it's not your fault, it's my fault. Why is it cutting off the end of your text there? I hope the experience, Tom, doesn't let you down. Because Sharky's not that great, honestly. You might think he is, and he's got that reputation of being fun and energetic and charismatic. You might think that Sharky's got that riz. I just hope he doesn't let you down. It's a lot to live up to. Good luck, Sharky. Better luck, Tom. By the way, watch out, because he will put his mouth around your head. So, you might want to sanitize after that. That's all I'll say. All right. Baxter misses the Oakland A's. Yeah, I think that's just the realization that a lot of people are going to come to in the next couple weeks and months as baseball season actually happens and games are being played, and you're watching something that just seems and feels surreal. Or actually, you're not watching it. How about that? How about all the people who spent all their summers and filled all their time by watching the Oakland A's all their life? And now, what does May 18th look like? What does June 24th look like? What does July 17th look like? August 3rd? What are you doing? What were you normally doing? Yeah, you might go to the Coliseum. You might be watching the A's broadcast. Now maybe you couldn't care less. So again, there's a lot of people who they realize what's happened, but we haven't got to the absence part yet. We've had the separation, we've had the loss, but we haven't had the absence yet. And I'm telling you, that is another part of this process that is going to strike a lot of people in a really hard way. All right, I see some more super chats here. Let me try and get to those. Gravity Fallout Pines. Hi, Brody. I've loved your work over the years. If you were to guess and prognosticate, see, it's cutting it off again. I apologize about that. What does MLB look like in 2034? Do the Chicago White Sox stay put, Rays to Orlando, Portland over Salt Lake City? Thanks. Well, there's a lot to chew on there. I recently made a video. I think it was 2035. Did I say MLB in 10 years? It was more about rule changes and some situations and expansion, but let me try and address all your questions here. I think of the dual markets remaining, which is basically what? New York and Los Angeles and Chicago. The Bay Area is no longer a two-team market. I think like Chicago is definitely big enough. The Bay Area was and is still big enough for two teams. I think baseball owners would have a hard time letting a team out of Chicago, and they would have to approve relocation. I also think, though, that if a Chicago owner said, I need you guys to do this for me, I think baseball owners would approve that. But I just think there's too much money to be made. That is too valuable of a market. Anywhere else you go doesn't seem like it provides the same media deal or sponsorships or ticket sales opportunities. Like money is able to be made on the south side of Chicago. There's no question about it. So I think as much as they're going to try and leverage and negotiate and wheel and deal and use Nashville as an option and use every other place as an option, I don't know. I mean, I know where they want that ballpark. It's a beautiful site, But if they're asking $1 billion of public money for that stadium, like that's just not going to happen in Chicago. That's not going to happen in the state of Illinois. So we'll see where that goes. I would estimate that they probably stay put. I feel reasonably confident about that. In terms of the raise to Orlando, now I don't feel as confident about that. Again, I just explained it. Maybe I already used your answer. Sorry, but I think the Rays are going to be enticed by Orlando. I think that sale is already being made. I think baseball across the board is like, well, hey, that's like Oakland to Sacramento. It's only a 90-minute drive. This is literally the same thing. And what if Orlando says, hey, you know what? You can't play at Steinbrenner Field next year, which might be a real thing. I think the Yankees have already kind of hinted at the fact that this is a 1-year, 1-season thing that you can play at our single A facility in our spring training complex. What if Orlando says, well, how about this? The Trop's not getting fixed. Just come have a sleepover at our house for a couple more seasons. Until you build your new thing in Tampa or St. Pete or wherever, just come to Orlando. It's kind of like what's happening with the A's in Sacramento. Until a stadium is actually built in Las Vegas, until there's a real shovel in the ground, until there's real money funneled and committed to the project, then we'll be talking about that. Then that will be a thing. That's still not a thing yet, which is surprising. So Rays to Orlando, I'm not going to say yes, but I'm definitely not going to say no. Portland over Salt Lake City, I don't know. I think, again, the $900 million piece of that is huge for Salt Lake City. Let's see what Portland is able to counter with. Because both places now have sites. They've got renderings. One place has a ton of public money. Let's see what Portland has. But again, is baseball even in a spot to expand? It's not, in my opinion. I just said that earlier. I think baseball, the only way that Portland and Utah get a team before like 2035 would be relocation. I do not see expansion happening for Major League Baseball. Even if the A's and Rays were building new stadiums tomorrow, like starting construction tomorrow, I don't think baseball would be in the mode right now for expansion like they said they were not long ago. Pete Johnson, hello. Hi, Brody. Love the channel. Pete, I appreciate that. Do you think there's a chance that Raleigh, North Carolina lands an MLB team, the Rays, or an expansion team instead of Charlotte or Nashville? You know, Raleigh's been mentioned quite a bit here. And I'm telling you, that the one thing that's bothering me as a perfectionist, a production perfectionist, is that I've got to adjust the what's called alpha channeling, or no, the Luma keying, sorry, on this so that you can't see through the text. Anyway, it's really bugging me. Bottom line is, it's hard, right? I mean, is Charlotte really in the conversation? Is Raleigh really in the conversation? Is Charlotte in the conversation? Nashville kind of backed out. So if you want to feel better, Nashville, I think, was likely seen as a number one market. Baseball was having continuously its winter meetings. I went to the one in 2023 at the Opryland. And so Nashville was kind of viewed even back then as like, all right, you're the golden child of MLB cities, that you're next on the list. And, you know, the Nashville mayor has basically said since then that they don't do public funding for stadiums anymore. And then baseball is like, well, we do public-private partnerships. That's what we do. So there's a huge disconnect. I mean, they just gave, was it Nashville proper that gave the Titans about $2 billion for their brand new stadium, their replacement of a stadium that was only 25, 27 years old, something like that? It's amazing, right? Maybe about 30, less than 30 years old. And so the point being, I think Nashville's out of the equation, but I still don't see Raleigh or Charlotte really being front runners. However, like if baseball really is going to either expand or if they're going to move two teams, you've got a troublesome situation out east in the Rays, and you've got a questionable situation, I'll say, with the A's out west. You just don't know if the plane is actually going to land on the Las Vegas Strip yet. Still flying, hasn't landed yet. The plane in Florida, by the way, is doing laps. It's in a holding pattern. We don't really know where it's going to try and touch down. So that's what's going on there. I don't mean to be super pessimistic, Pete, about Raleigh, but I think it's got a harder chance of actually pulling off that situation, which is already difficult. Skywalker, hello. It's good to see your face. It's good to hear from you here on the super chat. I went to my last A's game in the last walk-off win ever in Oakland. The first game of the last series against Texas. Very emotional. I vlogged it and posted it on YouTube, and we should check that out. You know what? I think, Skywalker, I appreciate you sharing that, and I love promoting this here in your channel because, I think after a while we're going to be seeking out memories of, and that's why on the final day I went to the Coliseum, I took a video. I just walked around, didn't say much, took a video. I feel like at some point we're going to be going down the rabbit holes of remember what it used to be like. Again, we haven't even arrived at the absence portion of this process, and it's going to be difficult. So the bottom line is, yeah, thank you for documenting that. I think a lot of people down the road are going to appreciate that, the fact that you've documented history. Boy, these graphics are really making me upset every time. Every time I look at them. Here we go. Now we're fixed. The felon attorney, Oregon, in real life. I'm with you. Believe it when I see a Las Vegas ballpark. And we've been through so many hoops and loops and jumps, and I mean, honestly, lack of details. I know new renderings came out today. They don't look a whole lot different than what we saw a handful of months ago. And I mean, the Portland Diamond Project, they don't even have a team. They don't have, I don't know who they're even backed by, but they don't have the resources you'd think of a proper major league team. And the renderings they came out with are far more detailed, and they help you visualize what they're trying to do way better than the A's renderings. And we still only saw the same handful of views. Maybe we saw one or two new viewpoints and perspectives. They're the same renderings, basically, like touched up. Somebody spent a little bit more time on them, tried to make them more accurate. Again, I'm not even trying to be cruel about this. I'm just trying to be honest and real about it. It doesn't give you any new perspective on what they're trying to do, let alone what surrounds the project. Have you seen new updates on Bally's, their project in Chicago? That casino is like beyond broke and bankrupt. And I heard their stock lost about 25% of its value yesterday in just one day. They had an earnings call that they just canceled. Bally's is their partner on that site. The other 26 acres, yeah, that's Bally's. They're not doing anything anytime soon, and part of that probably means like they're not even doing infrastructure to the site that the stadium ultimately needs to be built. Otherwise, the A's probably have to pay for that all by themselves. I accidentally clicked. I thought Caker Girl said something else. I wanted to spotlight Caker Girl. It's good to see you here. But shout out to Moonglow too. Samwise Game G. Do you think the Seattle Supersonics will come back as an expansion team? For sure. I mean, I think, the one thing, and I said before, somebody asked about, the A's and keeping the name and maybe selling the name back to Oakland, whatever. That's the thing about if you go to Seattle, which I did back in August, you still see people wearing Sonics gear, but they can do so proudly because it's not the Oklahoma City Supersonics. Does that make sense? Like, it's not somebody else's team. The team left their logo, their history, their whole aura. They left it in Seattle, and then they took all the players and moved it to Oklahoma City. But my point is, it's one of those situations where fans in Seattle can still like put on Sonics gear and feel great about it. And so they've saved the name. It's obviously going to be Seattle Supersonics. It's just a question of who gets to own that team. I think we know where they're going to play. Seattle's a great basketball city. Like that was a mistake. As much as Rob Manfred came out in 2016 to say, if we ever leave Oakland in 10 years, it'll be a mistake. Like he said that in advance, and we will feel that way if we don't already. I think baseball will realize that and say that. But the NBA, since removing the Sonics from Seattle, I think David Stern said it before he passed even. It was a mistake. They let it happen, and it was a mistake. Mistakes happen. Gravity Fallout Pines. To be honest, I moved from San Ramon, the 925, to Salt Lake City 2 years ago. So while I got emotional at the reverse boycott game, the sting hasn't been as bad. What percentage of A's fans are outside of Oakland in your opinion? Thanks. Well, thank you again for being here in the super chat. You know, I think, Gravity, if I could, you know, there's a lot of fans, whether they're A's fans or baseball fans, who like the A's, but to your point, they're not geographically here in the Bay Area, so they couldn't care less. See, now I've never had a team that wasn't here locally with me. So, you know, what if I picked up, for example, the San Diego Padres as my team, and then the Padres moved to, I don't know, Bakersfield. I'm totally making all this up. Well, it wouldn't matter to me because San Diego's not right around the corner, and neither is Bakersfield. I don't care. Move the Padres to Raleigh, North Carolina, whatever. It doesn't matter to me because I'm just watching all their games from afar anyway. So I think that's your point here, and is that when you're not geographically close to it, it doesn't sting. You don't care as much. And that's why all along I've tried to say when talking about A's fans is that, like, are you even from here? Now, you were from here, so you do understand you've got connection, but some people have never been from this area, so they can't necessarily really feel the pain, the frustration, the hurt, the sorrow, the sadness, you name it. But to your question, what percentage of A's fans are outside of Oakland? Hard to know the demographics, and I think at one point the team did release all that information. See, like, Oakland is the main city where they play, but you also make a great point. There's so many A's fans from Berkeley, El Cerrito, Richmond, you name it, Walnut Creek, Lafayette. I'm drawing literally a circle all down the 680 corridor, Danville, Alamo, San Ramon, Dublin, Pleasanton, Castro Valley, Hayward, San Leandro, San Lorenzo, Fremont, Milpitas. Can you tell I'm from here? So the point that you're making is that I bet you it was probably like 25% fans from Oakland proper, and there's just everybody else surrounding the area. Maybe more, but probably somewhere around there. But anybody in those regions, whether you're from a 707 area code, 925 area code, or a 510 area code, or a 415, from across the bay the other way, you feel these feelings, and you will, of their absence here. Back to Skywalker, I got to go back to the Oakland Coliseum via invite back in December. I got to walk on the field for the first time, wow, in your life. Got to say your proper goodbye and placed your brother's Tim's ashes in the stadium. Oh, my goodness. Whew, that's heavy. Thank you for the super chat, Skywalker, and thank you for sharing that. Wow, I mean, I can't believe you'd never been on the field before. Number one, just because there's fireworks games and, you know, there's other opportunities where fans get to come on the field, but the fact that you got to do that and, you know, spreading your brother's ashes has got to be very moving and emotional. So I'm sorry that you were in that position, obviously, number one, but wow, what an experience that was. Sarcastic remarks. Hey, Brody, love your content. It's been a while since the trade. So I'm trying to figure out. So what I haven't read it yet. I'm like, what sport, what team, what are we talking about here? But then I see Fire Nico. Has your perspective changed since the trade first broke? It is still hated in Dallas. Fire Nico's chants broke out at the Stars game tonight, the Dallas Stars game. Well, they do play in the same building, so I would imagine it's a lot of the same people and fan bases between the Mavericks and Stars. Look, you know, what Mavs fans are going through, I mean, like, welcome to being an Oakland A's fan for all of the 2010s. Hey, regenerate. Get a group together that you like. Have some players come together here and draft picks, and wow, this is a really fun team. And they're going and growing, and they might go places, and then we're going to dismantle them, like, all in 1 week. You're gone, you're gone, you're gone. And what did they get in return? And then, okay, rebuild. All right, 2015, 16, 17, and then finally, you know, you get a Chapman, you get an Olsen. And then, was it 2022? Like, coming out of that lockout, trade everybody within a couple days. So I get it. Like Luka, I did not understand this. I should say I comprehended it, but I did not truly understand the depths of the connection between Luka and Mavs fans. until a couple days afterwards, like until I really saw everything that was being said and all the analysis, and then I really understand it. And, had the Luka trade been made for something that was so obvious in return, like an up-and-coming next big thing, and the promise that you were taking the hit now to almost certainly upgrade in a year or two from now, okay, all right, you can explain that. But nobody can really explain the give and the take of that trade. And to the Lakers, and to have Dirk going to crypto.com to go support Luka in his first game over there. I mean, it's just rip your heart out times 10. So, my perspective really hasn't changed. I guess the point is, in terms of the reaction of fans, I just wanted them to be able to express themselves. And it's okay, I think, to have feelings and make signs and, so long as they don't promote violence, cross the line. I mean, as a sports person, you're a public figure, whether you're front office, a player, a coach, whatever. People are going to verbally say they don't like you or they don't like your moves or your decisions. You have to deal with that. Now, a team is going to think that they can control that narrative. And also, it's pretty bold for fans to ask for their season ticket money back. And then it's even crazier that the team, apparently in a couple of cases, honored those requests. But, I think there's no way to fix this. What do you do as recourse for this? What do you do to make it better? You can't get Luka back. You can't go out and make a trade that makes fans happy. What are you supposed to do? And I'm saying that they screwed up. They should have thought about this well in advance. The Mavs certainly did this without any forethought, without any foresight. Do we think this is going to be bad for our business if we do this? They didn't put any of that into consideration. Okay, I do see a couple more super chats here, which I really do appreciate. Connor saying, crazy to think that the end of the A's tenure in Oakland coincided with the downfall of Diddy. All right. And I do not understand here why the text is being, what if I move that over a little bit? Yeah, but it's going to screw up. It's going to screw up some of the other ones. Anyway, the downfall of Diddy. Yeah, Connor, I appreciate the super chat. I don't know how to make that connection. But I will say there's a lot of weird things that coincided with the A's departure. Most notably, the passing of Rickey Henderson. And it's just, man, you feel the weight of one thing and then you feel the weight of true life and death. And I don't want to say it puts everything in perspective, but it made the heart sink even that much deeper with Rickey's passing. Pete says, don't worry about the alpha channel on the super chats. The effect looks cool and it's still legible. Yeah, but it's cutting off the text, Pete. Thank you. Thanks for the support. Thanks for letting me know that you won't tune away. That's the number one thing. I love it. The downfall. Yeah, Connor, what were you trying to do? Did you think I was going to have something great and fun to say about the downfall of Diddy? I will say, this is all I'm really going to offer up, and I don't think this is controversial by any nature, but who would have thought all the stuff that came out and the way it came out and the fact that everybody seemed to, it just, whoa, for somebody who was all over everything, music, television, movies, for a lot of the 2000s, yikes. We'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. But in terms of what's been said and what's been out there, holy smokes. Who's my AL West winner this year? It's a great question. I have I have reduced Howie, and I appreciate you being on the super chat. I've really reduced my attention and my energy towards, anything surrounding the A's. Normally, I'd be able to tell you, the Astros did this, and the Rangers did that, and the Mariners are going to be this, and the Angels will do that. Couldn't tell you. I do think the A's are bound to improve. I don't think they're going to win the division this year. By the way, I saw the contract that Lawrence Butler apparently signed as of tonight. So 7 years, $64 or $5 million. Jeff Passan had it. Look, Lawrence Butler now set for life. But I almost wonder, did he get undercut a little bit? And I don't, man, I love Law. So I like, he's good. He's good. And if he's happy, then we're good. I'm just saying, I think he could have done even more damage. And let's see what his next couple of years look like. AL West winner this year. Probably one of the Texas teams. You'd have to think that the Rangers are due to bounce back mightily after the season they just had. And they're way too talented and they're way too deep to struggle again like that. Seattle is always a question mark, like they never last a full season. They're good for like a third of a season or half a season. And the Angels, I'm telling you, I just cannot figure out what exactly they're doing. Besides wasting Mike Trout's career, to be quite honest with you. And I hope he has a healthy season. That poor guy has been through way too much. Josh, thank you for all your Rays coverage. It's more than I actually get living here in Tampa from local stations. Well, let me just say this, Josh, and a lot of people here on the channel, they say, well, wait, why is the California guy covering the Florida baseball team, one of the Florida baseball teams? And the answer is, I just about a year ago, when I really started to widen the focus of this YouTube channel, which, by the way, is closing in on 70,000 subscribers pretty soon. I mean, I'm excited about that, and I can't wait for more. When I widened out the topics here on this channel, and I just saw in the last 6 months what's been happening with the Rays, it is all too familiar. It is a movie I've already seen in my life, and I just wanted to give heads up to people in Tampa, like, I know how this goes. And it's apples and oranges always, like the situations, the details, they're never the same. They're never identical. But there are so many things similar and in common between the Rays situation and the A's situation and who's behind it all and how baseball is going to react to this and local governments, whether it's, a city of St. Petersburg or a city of Oakland or Alameda County or Pinellas County. So I wanted to try and lend my experience and my passion towards something I just witnessed and went through and hopefully give people in Florida some perspective on it. So anyway, it's a hard situation. I do not take any enjoyment of like covering that. I almost do it as an obligation to say, I want to give you as much education and background on it as I can. Ruben Ortiz, my girlfriend of 5 years dumped me today. Thanks for your info on bowling at Fans Fest. We'll have plenty of bowling time. Did the microphone just go out here? What's going on here? Are we can everybody hear me on the stream, or did it cut out, didn't it? We are having technical difficulties. Hang on. Didn't expect this to happen. Okay, are we back? Wait, it is just weird again. I'm going to try and get this fixed here. That is so odd. The headphone, oh, there we go. Okay, so I just switched to, I'm in this home studio for dozens of hours a week, and it never does anything like that. Does everything sound okay? Does it sound? Yeah, I'm looking at the meters. Everything should be coming out fine. It sounded so crazy here in my headphones all of a sudden. I do not know exactly what is going on there. Okay. All right, we'll figure it out. We'll be good. Yeah, it did cut out. Yeah, that's wait. Must have cut out on his monitor feed. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. It started sound really scratchy and then really distant. And even right now, it's just the volume is super low. It's this guy. Let me try this. Hello, hello. Oh, there. Oh. Oh. Are we? No, that one's still. Oh, wait a second. This is exactly what you all want me to be doing right now, right? Is messing with my headphone amp. All right, well, I'm going to do it just so I can get through the live stream here, but then I'll figure it out. Okay. Sorry. I had a timely one here. Yeah. Let's go back to this. Ruben, my girlfriend of 5 years dumped me today. I'm so sorry to hear about that. But you never know. I'm not here to be your life coach or offer you the life advice that's going to change everything right now. Let me just say that I'm sure today's terrible. I'm sure today's hard. Let's just see how it goes, right? One day at a time, buddy. And glad I could provide you with something as maybe a distraction or something that you can fill some time with. I wish you the best of luck, Ruben. And thank you for being here on the Super Chat. Okay. Duel Me 123. New sports fan, and your coverage has helped me learn so much. Do you have another NHL team who you cheer for? And who is your Stanley Cup favorite? Stanley Cup favorite, if you mean who do I want to win the Stanley Cup? And this thing is all over the place. Now the volume is like jumping way back up. I'd love to see the Edmonton Oilers win it this year, I think. I like Connor McDavid. I think a Canadian team really needs to win for the first time since the early 90s when Montreal did it last. It's been 30 plus years since a Canadian team has won the cup. So I'm going to have to say it'd be nice to have a Canadian. If my horse is out of the race, so to speak, and my horse is the Sharks, then it doesn't matter as much. I can tell you some teams I don't want to see win it. I won't name them. Maybe Edmonton. Maybe I'd be okay with that. Do I have another NHL team that I cheer for? You know, it's funny you asked me that. Somebody asked me the same question the other day, and I absolutely do not have an answer to that. I don't have one. The Sharks are what got me into hockey, and quite honestly, anything outside of that is just, oh, I see what's going on here. I see what was going on. The cord got pinched. By the way, as I'm doing this stream, I'm thinking about what's causing that. Yep, that was it. Because I actually did move some. Never mind. I moved some stuff around, and now I'm realizing that, okay, now I've got the problem fixed. All right. I don't have another NHL team, and I know that might be weird, or you might think, well, you must like somebody else over time. I like certain markets. I think Pittsburgh's a cool market for hockey. I think St. Louis is a cool market for hockey. It's fun to like be in Chicago and, see what the atmosphere is like surrounding a hockey game there. But same thing in Vancouver, but I can't say that I like any of those teams. I can't. So there you go. Okay. Connor, will Sacramento's Golden One Center ever host an NBA All-Star game? That is a great question. So wait a second. Like when the building went up, I mean, it's kind of what like Chase Center was brand new in, 2020. And so by 2024 or 2025, they have an All-Star game. How come Sacramento has never been awarded that? Is that a knock by the NBA that they're like, oh yeah, cool, but you're still Sacramento? Is that disrespect? Do they have to light the beam even higher for that to happen? You know what, Connor? I should do a separate video. And sometimes when I do these live streams, the best takeaway is that good video ideas come to mind. Like the other one was, which league expands next of the major four? And I gave that answer. And this is another great question. Why hasn't Sacramento hosted an All-Star game? What's going on there? I saw this. Forever A's. I get it. Yeah, love the Sharks at the Cow Palace. I am working on right now, and I don't want to give away all the details, as a part of my job with the Sharks, working on a retro segment and feature that involves going back to the Cow Palace. Yeah, and I'm pretty excited about it. I'm very excited about creating that history and documenting that history. Gloria on the super chat. Gloria, I appreciate that. Missed your videos since the Yotes left Arizona. Been watching so many other teams. Recently even got into college games. You know what, Gloria? I'm glad for you. So you have gone through the process. In fact, this hockey season has been that absence thing I'm talking about with A's fans, to the point where you saw the Coyotes last game at Mullet Arena, all the emotions, all that stuff, and then now you see a team in Utah. At least, though, that they've kept the identity of the Coyotes for Arizona, and I do think you will get another NHL team at some point. I do think that the NHL respects the Phoenix market, but the point being is that you are this season going through the figuring it out and who to root for and what else to do with your time, and so as I'm assuming a Coyotes fan can appreciate your effort and dealing with it the best you can. It should be a Brody shirt. The cord got pinched. It did. It's coming out of my mixer, and it's the one that feeds the headphone amp. And I'm like, wait a second, what could be? Why could this all of a sudden? But I don't, like, nothing moved. I moved something earlier, but why now? Like, did it get hot or something? It really blows my mind. Right in the middle of a live stream, too. And I appreciate Paul, Brody, the king. The audio sounds amazing as usual. I'm literally watching it on my television. It sounds amazing. Please don't mess with your audio. No, Paul, I've changed a lot of things here in the home studio over time. But the one thing that I really haven't touched in a couple years now is this microphone, the Neumann U87, the Apollo Twin interface right here, and the Soundcraft mixer. This is all audio right here, and actually, by the way, none of this stuff does anything. I should be very honest. It's just for show, just for looks. All the real stuff, the real guts are right over here. But I haven't touched the audio. I've been very satisfied with the audio on this channel for years. So I don't want to bore people with how I do it and what's going on behind the scenes. But actually, you know what? Let me just do this real quick. You want to see? Oh, sorry. Hang on. You want to see the level of detail we take it to here? Yeah, that's the level of detail right there. That's what's really going on. I mean, who's ready for a headache right there? You want some music to go through it too? It's a lot of information right there. What do you think about all this? Slightly overboard? Slightly overkill? This isn't even the audio controls. This is just a meter and a graph to show you what I'm looking at when it comes time to doing diagnostics. Anyway, there you go. There's a look at my audio setup. But see, that's the kind of stuff that goes on here on the channel. That's what you got to strive for. Let me see here. Oh, that's why. Am I related to Kyle Juszczyk? No, I'm not. Or were you talking to somebody else? The Hartford Whalers. You know what? That's another one. When the Carolina Hurricanes wore the Hartford Whalers jerseys the other day, it just kind of brings me to all sorts of feelings. Like you literally took the team, and now you're wearing the team's old jerseys in your new city. Like, hey, look at us. We're over here, Hartford Whalers. We are the Carolina Hurricanes, and you can't do anything about it. And then we're going to go make money off your team, or your city, and your image and logo and all that stuff. I don't know. It's really, really weird in retrospect. Cole, hey, Brody, heading down to, sorry, let me make my screen bigger here. Heading down to Arizona tomorrow for spring training and can't wait. Will I be at any of the games? Any tips for a first-timer? I really miss spring training, to be honest with you. It was a fun time. Now, I did it for work. I wasn't even really ever there for games. I would usually be at spring training from, at some point, like position players reporting to right before the first game because players, once the games get going, they're too busy for interviews and media stuff that I was doing. So I just missed Arizona, the desert, and I've already had the week come and go that where I would have gone, like usually like February 18th to the 23rd or 4th or something like that. So that's already come and gone. But tips for a first timer, yes, stay hydrated. Wear sunscreen because you're thinking, all right, it's February, March. I'm not going to. Oh, yes, you will get burnt in the Arizona sun. Bring lip balm. Now, Cole, I don't know where you're from, but I'm here in the Bay Area. And when we go to the desert or really anywhere like Utah or the Midwest, not the Midwest, but like the Rockies, high altitude and where it's dry, I notice instantly that my lips dry up after like 2 days of being out there. And then they get chapped and they crack and it's just all. So lip balm, sunscreen, stay hydrated, go to Scottsdale. Pretty much Scottsdale and Tempe are all that you need. Anywhere else is it's got to be worth it. Like you got to know what you're getting into, but have a good time, see some games, walk around a lot, stay hydrated again, and then stay hydrated with beers at night. So have fun, Cole. How did I get my job with the Sharks? There must be a story there. Ty 2405. Thank you very much for being in the super chat, Ty. Look, I can kind of tell you a little bit more now than I ever could before, but there's not a lot to it. I mean, in terms of just the actual details, had a long tenure covering the Sharks, built some relationships with people on the inside, and when the opportunity came around, like I was clearly a free agent. The opportunity was discussed, but they still had to have the right needs. I had to have some things squared away from a personal side and, taking care of my family. But who knew if it was very possible that a good idea was had over here and a good idea was here, but we just kind of were like two ships crossing in the night. But honestly, as the more we talked about it, there was an offer made and I obviously jumped all over it. So, and there were some other things out there for me to consider, job opportunities, career stuff. But the story is just really, a skill set that I have. And I do a lot of the production work on the videos and the content you see. So it took a lot of things to go right, if I'm being honest. It took a background that I had of 15 plus years covering the team, local knowledge, a lot of good connections with the fan base. All this stuff, by the way, I'm super appreciative of. Like, I don't take any of it for granted, that I had that long of a run, that I got that close and in tight with the team, that when it came time for them to maybe have an opportunity for me, and they kind of created it, and we did it. They did it. I was lucky enough to be able to say yes to it. So that's kind of the story. I don't take any of that for granted, though, and I appreciate everybody over there. They've treated me so well so far. And I just say so far. Like, that's the other thing. It just hasn't been that long yet, and I expect it's just going to continue. But they've treated me so well, which I really do appreciate. Right field Will's getting shout outs here in the chat. Now, did I say I was going to do phone calls at 10 o'clock? It's 10:10. Maybe I should get all over that. Any shout out for Brazil? Brazil just qualified for the WBC? Don't you think, if you're going to have the country of Brazil participate, don't you think you should have Brody Brazil be their announcer or do something for the team? Now batting number 6, Brody Brazil. Okay, enough of that. Nobody really wants to hear that. Connor, one of my old colleagues, Ahmed Fareed, came to your high school in Northgate and Walnut Creek to award fellow teacher Corey Starr the All-Star Teacher Award back in 2018 during your senior year. Connor, you were in high school in 2018? Man, I'm feeling old here. Yeah, Ahmed's a great dude. He's been out at Big NBC on the East Coast for a long time, and busy man, very popular man, and there's no questions why. Oh, did I see? Hey, Vast Sky Media. Gosh, and I know Vast Sky. I know you said your name on the videos before because I've watched, and it just so much going on, and I can't remember your name right now. But I do appreciate you and your pup for going out to Dodger Stadium, and I hope that you can. You're okay with the fact that I've just been using those still images once in a while to help showcase, like, hey, go watch the whole Vast Sky Media, their videos. I don't want to steal your video. Like, you work hard for that. But I do want to just take the still images and promote your work. So you've done a great job on that. And maybe I'll do one more. I saw that there's grass now finally out on the field at Dodger Stadium in the outfield and the infield. So maybe I'll do one more with the renovation update. But what a project. $100 million to do like 10,000, what I'm thinking is like 10,000 square feet on both sides, underground of the field and the stadium, and to do it in an off season in like 4 months. And the fact that a lot of people are just going to show up later this month in like 20 days and be like, what'd they do? What's under here? Just kind of amazing. So Vast Sky, you've done a great job. I'm glad to have come across your work and seen your channel grow because of it, and keep up with the drone videos. When this project is over at Dodger Stadium, I hope you find something else to do in Los Angeles or wherever you call home or spend your time. I think you do. You've got a great eye for this stuff, so I hope it continues to work out. Cole is in Los Gatos, the cats. All right, should we? Broads, you going to be at any of the games coming up? How about all of them? I'm at all of them, Caker Girl, but I'm usually down in the dungeon. I'm in the offices for a lot of the game, doing a lot of work, doing a lot of preparation work for my game recap video. Sharks Fan 8080, sorry if this is late, didn't get the notification about the live stream, was scrolling through YouTube. Good to see you live again. You know what? It's good to be live again. I said this at the very beginning. I promised myself, in 2025, I'll do more live streams. And then like days go by and weeks go by, and then it's March 6th. All of a sudden we're like through the first quarter of the year already. And this is my first live stream of 2025. Is Mario Ferraro worth a first round pick? Did that happen? Do I need, I've been live streaming here for about an hour now. Hour 15 approximately I've been in here, and I haven't looked at my phone. So if anything's happening, you all need to let me know about it. I think if Jake Wallman is worth a first round pick, then I got to think Mario Ferraro has got some pretty good value too. Now I'm getting all neurotic. I'm looking at my headphones. I'm like, has this wire always been there like that? Now that I had the whole audio debacle of March 2025 a couple minutes ago. All right. Wait a second. Rantanen being traded to Dallas. Elliott's reporting that? Oh boy, maybe that's the trade. I thought we were still talking about the Luka trade. Oh man. See, that's why I gotta be scrolling here instead of streaming. I'm streaming. I can't be scrolling and streaming at the same time. Does anybody actually like Draymond? I like Draymond. I like the fact that Draymond likes Macklin Celebrini. Draymond showed up to Macklin's first ever NHL game, and I bet Draymond has been watching a lot of Celebrini games. Draymond is a type of player you need on your team to do what the Warriors have done. You need somebody that's a little bit haywire sometimes, a little bit unpredictable, a little bit going to stand up for his teammates, a little bit going to be, granted, I think there have been times where he's crossed the line and the Warriors have paid for it and he's put them in bad situations. There's no question about that. But I think the net benefit versus what the Warriors have kind of paid for him or what they paid for because of him, whatever I'm trying to say, like the net benefit still weighs out above anything else. So, and I think Draymond, after he's done, I think for as much as people like him and appreciate him now, I think they will even more when he's gone, because they'll realize they don't make him a lot like Draymond, if you know what I'm saying. He's a rare commodity. There's not a lot of guys with his skill set, with his attitude, leadership, all that stuff, and the way he's evolved. So I think he'll be missed even a lot more. Any advice for somebody pursuing a private pilot license, or would love if you made a video about your aviation journey? Maybe someday. Maybe I'll try and explain that in a short video. For me, a short video is like 25 minutes, but yeah, I don't know how much everybody would be interested in it, but I know a certain cross-section would, so I do appreciate that. Oh, there is a Rantanen deal. Gonna be salary retained by Carolina. The Preds are also involved in the Dallas Rantanen deal. See, so that when you were asking about the trade, maybe I was thinking like we're still talking Luka Doncic. Kyle, hello, Kyle, and say hello to your dog too. That's very cool that you bring the dog out. Oh, and thank you for the approval. I probably should have asked, but I'm as somebody in the formerly broadcast world like I was, and in the media sphere, I realize like when you have something good and somebody rips off your work and then like a lot of times doesn't even give you credit, let alone just rips it off and puts your name on, small. It's like, well, what did that do for me? You just took my stuff. You didn't go out and do this. So I appreciate you going out to capture all that footage. And I just want to make it worth your while. Bay Area Aviation. That sounds like my kind of channel. V1 Rotate. Let's go. All right. Should we? Let me see here what I can do. Let me do a little bit of this. I'm going to turn on the phone lines here. Okay, so it's been a while. I got to yes, there we go. So if I throw it up here, 510-343-3640. You can call in right now. I think we're going to be live streaming until maybe about 11. This should offer up, I don't know, like 40 minutes of phone calls. Could we do that? Should we do that? I feel like I've been on longer than an hour and 3 minutes. My recording stream here, my stream recording says an hour and 3 is when I hit go. I feel like I've been on longer than that. Maybe I'm just struggling. Maybe I'm not that good tonight. All right, we've got our first call. In fact, we've got our first 2 calls. From the 408. Who's this?
Hello?
What's going on?
Oh, you're way ahead. Sorry, I was trying.
No, you're good.
I was trying to.
I hear you. You're listening to the stream while you're on the phone. I got it. I know how it goes.
Brody, my name is Francisco. My question for you is, do you agree or disagree with PK Subban's take of the culture between the NBA and the NHL?
You'd have to remind me specifically what he said. I've heard some Subban takes recently, but I'm not familiar with this one, or at least I don't remember. What did he say in your words?
The gist of it, he was just saying that NHL players play harder than NBA players. Like NHL players show up every day to come play. That they don't do none of the stuff that NBA players do, like the whole load management thing. Because I was going to ask, like, could you imagine a player like Sidney Crosby or Macklin Celebrini saying, "Oh, you know what? I don't feel like playing today. My whatever injury they're going through at the time, or I just don't, or my knee is sore right now.
Yeah.
I don't want to put a lot of pressure on it and play on it." Can you imagine if they had that type of attitude?
There's definitely a very different culture in hockey as it relates to injuries and playing through it, really, than any other sport. Like, I think we got to identify that. Like, a baseball player, let's go to this example. A pitcher, right, who has a blister on their finger, can't pitch.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, and I get it, right? Because if you're trying to throw that curveball and it's that touch right here off the tip of the index finger, or sometimes even the middle finger, and it's just, you've got that thing on your finger, you can't throw the pitch, you're gonna get rocked. But it's literally an abrasion of the skin that's stopping you from playing. Meanwhile, there's hockey players who lose 4 teeth and then still come back in and play the rest of the game with gauze in their mouth. Hockey's different than anything else. I don't know that we need to always like put it straight right next to the NBA. It's because those 2 seasons play at the same time. But I would also say this. I do question with the NBA, the whole load management thing. How do they get away from that? Like, league-wide, not even at a team level, I'm talking about a league level. They need to figure out how to make it so that teams don't need to even talk about that. Does the schedule need to be changed? Whatever it takes. Are there rules? They tried to make that rule about, I think you can't miss 13 games or 14 games to be considered for one of the league awards like MVP. So you can't only play 50 games and be the NBA MVP. The NBA really has, and you know what? The NHL kind of has an issue too, in a sense that they're so secretive. And if you're a fan and you're coming to the game, you want to know if, like, is Macklin playing tonight? Well, and every team does this, not just the Sharks. Well, game time decision. And half the time it is that. Like, they don't know if the player is ready to go, and we'll find out later tonight. But I will say that I know for certain that a lot of teams around the league, they use that as deception. Like, we know he's going to play, but we're not going to tell anybody, so we don't want the other team to prepare for it. So every league's got its issues. I'm sorry I went so long, but the point is, it's not entirely fair, but if that's the comparison and that's the criticisms, I totally understand the criticisms of both sides. I really do.
For sure. Okay, then. And don't forget, I think it was Bergeron. Didn't he play with a collapsed lung through the playoffs one year?
I mean, there's been separated shoulders and dislocated everythings. And, I mean, there have been hockey players who officially died on the bench. I shouldn't even laugh at that. This is like, hockey's ridiculous. Hockey actually needs to look at itself in the mirror sometimes and say, wait, is this really what we want to be doing? And how the injury, secretive, hiding injury culture that we want, is that really best for the players and the teams? I don't know that it always is, but that's just the way that it's gone. You don't ever have a lower body injury in the NBA, No,
you don't. All right, then. Thanks for your time, Brody.
Hey, be well. Thanks for offering up something really good. I appreciate that.
All right, for sure. Peace out.
All right, peace. All right, let's see how many area codes we can hit here in the live stream. We just had the 408. Hang on a second. I hit too many buttons there at once. From the 503, who's this?
Hey, Brody, this is John. I'm in Portland, Oregon.
Hey, John, how are you?
California native, though. I was going to talk to you about the A's moving to West Sacramento, but when you started talking about load management, this is something that really, really upsets me, because I grew up as a Laker fan in the 70s. In 1972, I went to my first game, and then in the 80s with Magic and Kareem and Worthy. I mean, these guys didn't take games off. Okay, now when they got to be they had their back-to-back run. They had a strategy was, let's shorten the games to 3 quarters. And once they got the big lead, then Riles would pull out the starters. But I mean, I watched the Lakers play the Clippers a couple times this last week, and I just don't understand how guys get by with making all this money. And I had a complete brain fart. I'm trying to think of the star player for the Clippers, and I know who it is. As soon as you say it, you remind me.
Well, actually, but before we get into that, are you in your 40s? What age range are you?
I'm actually going to be 59 on.
Oh my
Saturday.
Gosh! Congratulations on that.
I grew up in the Bay Area, and I know you used to work for the Sharks because I watch NFL face off on my satellite, and so I used to see you doing the pregame work for them, and I really enjoy your YouTube channel. I think it's awesome. You come up with a lot of insights. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying, I mean, the Lakers got Luka Doncic, and the Clippers got Ben Simmons. It is to me, the Clippers built this $2 billion arena, and they still don't get it, I don't know where I'm going off that, but anyway, this load management stuff. Bird, Magic, Michael Jordan, who else can I throw in there?
Well, Michael Jordan famously played through what we thought was the flu, but it turned out to be food poisoning, right? He ate all the pizza.
Yeah.
we found out
Kobe
in 2020.
Bryant played the entire 2010 season with a broken finger.
Yeah.
And Gary Vitti developed a splint for him, a splint that he could wear that didn't affect his shooting. But I just got done watching the Lakers play the Knicks tonight. It was an incredible game. The Lakers came roaring back with 4 minutes left. They were down 8, and eventually tied it, went into overtime. Bronson got hurt for the Knicks. It looked like he rolled an ankle, or he was actually grabbing higher up, like maybe even Achilles. And so he had to leave the game with like half a minute left in overtime. But Luka Doncic is starting to look like Luka Doncic, and LeBron James looks like he's 25 years old again.
Yeah,
and
it's dangerous.
And J.J. Redick has done an incredible job, and I thought he would, because I think he's a basketball savant. He's played he played with a million different teams. He's a smart player, and it's only been a few years since he was a player, so he understands the NBA today, the way the officials call the games, and he's making the Lakers play defense.
Wait. J.J. Redick, the podcaster, is a head coach?
Coach of the Lakers.
I'm kidding. No,
I know. And you know what? I mean, Rob Pelinka took a lot of grief when he first became the general manager of the Lakers, but I think he's done an incredible. This Luka Doncic, I still can't believe that the Lakers were able to pull that trade off.
Hey, you know what? Steve Kerr, when he came to the Warriors, a lot of people forget he had zero head coaching experience.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They just saw somebody who was a brain. Yeah.
Yeah, I think sometimes you just need to have a gym rat.
Yeah.
And that's what Steve Kerr was. Yeah. That's what J.J. Redick. J.J. Redick was a great player.
Yeah.
A great player. And he's turned out to be a great coach. And I think the Lakers are a threat to get to the finals. And, like I said, Luka's just getting better every game. I've watched every game since he started playing with the Lakers. And he is playing, like tonight, he made 2 incredible shots in overtime. He's not afraid to take the long. He's not afraid to shoot from anywhere. He's an assassin.
I thought he was out of shape. I thought he was out of shape. Well, I guess apparently not. No.
He is out of shape.
That was the criticism of the Mavericks, right?
He's just starting to get his legs under him, though.
Yeah, I'm sure he's fine.
3 or 4 games of the Lakers, you could tell he was still trying to get his legs under him because he was missing a lot of shots short. And the last couple of games, he has been incredible. LeBron's been incredible. They got the other night they got 19 points from this kid named Jackson Hayes, who I never heard of until about 3 months ago. He's playing center. He was 8 for 8, and he made 3 free throws. His free throw percentage was less than 30% when the Lakers made the trade. So Anyway, listen, I really enjoy your stuff, Brody, and I just happened to come upon you with a live stream.
It's awesome.
And quickly, one thing. I used to live near West Sacramento. I used to go to that stadium to watch the River Cats play. How in the hell is Rob Manfred going to make this seem like it's a good idea? To me, it's a terrible idea. You know how hot it gets there in the summertime?
I'm very well aware, and I think the situation
they're going to want to play in the. I mean, what are they going to do on Sundays? Could be ridiculously hot.
Yeah, they're going to play a lot of night games. They're going to shift a lot of games.
I guess they are.
Yeah,
but and then the other thing with the Rays too. I mean, I just don't get it how Major League Baseball could have 2 crippled franchises and they're not doing anything about it. I don't understand it.
I think this season and how it plays out and the reaction to it, and if it's passable, then they're just going to sweep it under the rug. But if there's a lot of complaints, I don't know that they'll be able to.
Well,
entirely
the way that the Sacramento area supports the Kings, I mean, do you really believe that Las Vegas would support that team better than Sacramento is going to support them for the next 3 years?
I mean, they just came out with a report to say that I think it was like 70% of fans at Raider games were not from Las Vegas. So
that's right.
But I don't think that's going to translate to baseball. I think people travel for football. It's a once a week thing. Yeah. It's only 8 times a year. The equation has always been. You don't
think that transplanted Californians who are from the East Coast won't want to go to Vegas and see, when the A's. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how this is going to go. I don't trust the owner of the A's. I think Scott is a completed total moron. I don't understand why they couldn't get something done at the Alameda shipping yard. Wow. If you take a look at the Giants situation when they built that stadium in China Basin, there was nothing in China Basin.
I remember. Yeah, it was.
And now there's some of the most valuable real estate in San Francisco. Look at where the Warriors built their arena.
Yeah.
Same situation. It would have been a win-win for Oakland. I feel bad that Oakland has to be the city that you can say, which city lost 3 major league teams within a 5-year period? It's really sad.
Yeah.
I'll let you go, Brody. Hey, thanks a lot.
Appreciate the call. Soon, Thank you so much. Be safe. All right. In and out just like that, which means the phone lines are open once again. We got about a half hour left. I saw that I missed a couple calls. Robert called. Howie called. Let's see who this is. From the 408. Who's this?
Hey, why are you so pissy?
You think so?
Are you not always?
I guess. Maybe. Who is this?
Oh, come on, buddy.
Oh, is it AJ?
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Not too shabby. What'd you think about tonight's game?
Shouldn't you be on a live stream right now? Shouldn't you be doing a Sharks post-game live stream?
Oh, done and put to bed. Shouldn't you be doing a wrap-up?
Wait. I've got something already cooked up for you for tomorrow, so it's already been mailed. It's already been mailed in. Sharks game. You know, I think you had to. There's two things about tonight that going into it make you super nervous. Just about the result. I mean, what is it? It's another game. It's just it's a regular season game. This is not a life or death situation. But end of the longest road trip of the season. By the way, end of the longest road trip since 2014, I want to say.
Really?
Yeah, 7 games, almost 2 weeks. Longest road trip they've been on in a very long time. It's almost like the tennis tournament days. And the other part about it was having multiple players traded and also being on the brink of the deadline tomorrow. So, like, even if it doesn't happen today, it could still happen tomorrow. It's just a lot of people on edge, right? So I feel like it's just one of those games where you knew, like, some instability could be there or some – I'm not going to say fragile, but you knew there could be – you knew emotion and the human side could play into this game. And I feel like the 2/3 of it that I watched, that was very evident. So,
well, and I think you also maybe get into a little bit of a high from the 2 games in the Northeast.
Absolutely, those were great wins, different wins, but great wins, and so I feel like you could see that one coming. Do we have a return for Wallman yet? Do we? I mean, I know it's been rumored as a first-round pick. Do we know anything for sure?
First in a prospect is the only thing I've heard.
All right.
I mean, which I've seen a lot of people. Of course, this is going to be, just like every other thing in the stratosphere of, speaking, that it's going to be hotly debated. So for some people, a first and a prospect, oh, I can't believe that's all the top defensemen for the Sharks got. And then there's other side that goes, well, wait a minute. Let me see. Mike Greer got paid a second to take this guy, and then he's flipped him for a first.
Right.
Like, that seems like pretty good asset management.
Right. Even if it is an Edmonton first, like, it's going to be lower in the first round. But the point is like, yeah, I think.
Well, we don't know what round we don't know what year this pick is going to be.
Right. You'd have to think sooner than later. Maybe not this year, but maybe next year. I don't know. Yeah, it's a big question mark. But to your point, even how the Sharks got Wallman was like, what? Really? Did you get? What were you guys thinking? Like you let him go was it for future considerations, right?
Yeah. Exactly. But the other thing, and I've mentioned this before, but a lot of people say, oh, it's the top, it's the Sharks' best defenseman. How do you only let? And I'm like, well, but he's on the worst team. It's like, okay, he's the skinniest kid at fat camp. We get it. It's
that's how you that's how you do it. Jeez.
But, I mean, you get what I'm saying? It's like the competition really isn't where you want it to be. So if Wallman is your top guy, that's great. But I feel like Muka Madulin just seems like he just takes a positive step every game.
Yeah, no, but he's untouchable, right? Like Shaq's not going anywhere. And going back to that deal, that was the New Jersey deal, right? That brought Muka Madulin with Timo. So, you know what? It's I think for Wallman, I was a little bit surprised. I thought he was more part of the near-term future. Who knew about the long-term future? I thought he could maybe play his way into that. But I'll tell you what I think. I'll tell you what I think happened is Mike Greer was offered something pretty rewarding, and he's like, "I got to do this. I wasn't planning on doing this, but I got to do this." Like he was.
It's very much like Hurdle last year.
Yeah, I think Hurdle in that situation. Yes, you're right about the return, which has already been flipped actually. But I think the point was with Hurdle, it was more like, all right, we're still trying to turn the page, and this is something we knew we had to do eventually. I don't know that they had to move Jake Wallman, right? It was like
no, they didn't. But it was just this idea of like you saw a lot of names discussed today. It was Cunnin, it was Ferraro or whatever, and Wallman kind of came out of left field like Hurdle did last year.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I make him from time to time.
Do you? every blue moon.
Yeah, but yeah.
Jumbo, how about that? Do you have any idea or prediction for tomorrow? Are the Sharks done with their moves? I feel like there's going to be one more tomorrow, and I don't know what it is or who it is. Just who knows? Just instinct.
I mean, it seems like Cunning's name keeps getting brought up, and I think with the Wallman move, I think Ferraro is
right.
He's not going anywhere because at this point it's like we're running out of defensemen unless Ruda is suddenly healthy tomorrow.
Well, Scott Hannon is not far away. He's only a phone call away. Keeps himself in pretty good shape, and he is the Minister of Defense. So
right, but I mean, so you got Thrun and Ruda out right now, and obviously that doesn't help. Things for the CUDA, who are obviously trying to get where they want to be. Right. So either way, though, I'm very happy with what I've seen from Luka Madulin. I'm happy with Thompson. Schultz, I think, had a bad night, but I mean, it's one NHL game. What are you going to do?
Hey, how about if the CUDA are short on defensemen? How about by the end of the London Knights season? How about we bring in a Sam Dickinson? Just fix that problem right then and there.
Yeah, I was going to say that would be super sweet. And if the guy who's super duper happy about all of this between Wallman and the injuries to Thrun and Ruda, of course, is Vlasic. He's like, I'm not getting scratched for the rest of the season. This is beautiful.
Oh, pickles! He's gonna be a 20-year guy next season. If who knows? If we all get there, we'll see.
Yeah. All right, man. Good talking to you.
All right,
buddy.
AJ. Take care, my friend.
You too.
AJ of Teal Town, USA. He just finished his own live stream, and then he just called into mine. So that's pretty cool. All right, phone lines are open. I know this won't take long. Watch. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Nobody's calling in. Ah, there we go. See, it never fails. I got 2 phone calls from the 669. Hello, and who's this?
Brody, it's Skywalker. How are you, sir?
Skywalker, how are you?
Oh, my gosh, I can't believe I got through.
The 669 is like the new area code for the East Bay, is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Just moved from Dublin to Discovery Bay.
Okay.
I love it here. Yeah.
Out in Disco Bay, huh?
Disco Bay. Disco Bay. It hasn't changed in 40 years.
What's so like? Do you live on the water in Discovery Bay, or do you near?
Yeah, so everybody lives on the water, and I pay for a 2-story house on the water. I pay the same amount as I did in Dublin for a 1-bedroom apartment. Isn't that crazy?
Oh, well, it's more I would say rural living, but yeah, you get your value out there, right? So you're liking it?
Oh yeah, you can say that. I love it. It's like a Midwest feel. Everybody's very friendly. Kids play outside. They play baseball out in front in the street. I mean, it's like you're in a time warp here. Pretty cool.
You're back in the 80s. Do you come back to the Bay Area then very much? Do you have to commute? So I would imagine that's like a hour drive, hour 10 maybe?
Well, luckily for me and my wife, we both work from home. Obviously, I do the YouTube thing, and she gets to work from home, so we don't have to deal with that. Thank goodness.
Nice. Oh, good for you. Hey,
but you know what this feels like, Brody? This feels like the old KNBR days, calling in at night and talking sports, man.
Well, a little bit of it is like, I guess, sports radio based, the way I kind of do it. I guess you could do this a lot of ways, and I'm probably too like stiff like a host still. Like I can't get the host part out of my my DNA. I should probably just talk to people instead of interview them. But actually, I had a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Are you a full-time YouTuber? That's what you do?
Yes, I am.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Now, when you did, because I'm not in that space of doing that yet, but obviously the channel here is growing, and I'm all about that, and I want to help it grow more. Do you know, like, how did you know when it was time to say, okay, I'm putting my everyday emphasis into a YouTube channel? Because that's a little bit intimidating. It's not the typical job. You're your own boss. You control your own destiny, but the algorithm also controls your destiny. So how did you approach like making that decision?
Well, I first started out, I was working full-time. I was contracted out of Stanford doing executive production, so basically a bodyguard for the rich and famous, whoever came through Stanford. But on the side,
I started a YouTube channel to talk sports. I'm like, why not, right?
Yeah.
And then over the years, so I started that in 2016. So if you're thinking about doing it yourself, anybody listening, it takes a while.
Yeah,
so
right.
I wasn't able to quit my full-time job until about 2020.
Okay.
And that's when I started getting ad revenue. Because YouTube really doesn't pay that much, to be honest with you. You have to get sponsors and then things like that. But, I can't complain.
How many subs were you at when you went full time?
I'd say about 20,000.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, I think
about 20,000.
We're right around the corner from 70 here, and I'm not even thinking about it yet. You knew what you were.
Hey,
you knew what you were doing.
Great content, dude. You put out great content. Like what I feel like when I've been going through with the A's, growing up there, like I told you in all those super chats, was the Raiders left didn't really bother me. The Warriors left didn't really bother me, but the A's got me right in the soul. And then tuning into your videos and your live streams, I think you help out a lot of grieving people. It's like a place where everybody can come that feels heartbroken right now. And you bring that like energy where everyone just feels like they can open up to you about what's going on with the A's and how we're feeling.
I appreciate you saying that.
It's just the truth. Yeah. I mean, it's you put out that vibe, man, and you can see all the people in the chat, like we all come to you, bro. And I really appreciate you getting us through this.
Yeah, well, it's kind of you. And you know what I think is maybe, here we are in March 6th. I feel like at some point early to mid-April, we should just do a stream one night when we know there's a baseball game going on. And I'm not saying to watch the A's game, but I'm saying like to take all the people who normally would be watching that game and just talk about the situation, right? And let people call in. And in fact, maybe there's a way I could take multiple calls at once and I could just kind of listen in the conversation, But I feel like talking it out and people expressing their feelings and sharing stuff is just, it's therapeutic. Not just for everybody else, but for me too. I'll be honest, selfishly, I kind of need it. I need to hear what people are saying and how they're feeling and to know that I'm not crazy and like, wait, is this how I'm really seeing it? Is anybody else seeing it this way? So I appreciate it, man. Well, and it's awesome that you do your thing like that and that you've made it your business, and that's great. You get to be you're your own boss. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. It's a blessing, and it's a curse at the same time. At least with a normal job, you know what your paycheck's going to be, but month to month doing your own thing, it can be stressful. But I just wanted to call in and sorry I didn't get to ever meet you at the A's games. But I'm glad you got that job with the Sharks, dude. You get to stay in the Bay Area. I didn't want to see you go, man.
Yeah.
So that's great news.
To be perfectly honest, of all the decision making I had to do and the entire process of just unknown, leaving the area was never really a consideration for me. I would do something totally separate. I would get into a totally different career path, whatever, just to stay around here because this is where I'm from. This is what I do, and this is where I feel most valuable and like my calling is here, so I appreciate that. Thank you a lot. Thank you for the super chats, man. I can't wait to be in touch in the future. And, we should do that. We should do a baseball night, like fireside chat, eventually.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. I love the idea. I'll tune in. So
yeah. And you know what I'll do? I won't even do live chat. I'll just turn on the stream, turn on the phone lines, and let people rip for as long as they want. And we'll start at like 7. We'll start even earlier so that it can go just as long as it needs to go.
That would be awesome. And then you can just kick back with some popcorn and
I just, I just want to let people talk. And I think that this, there's however many people are watching this or will watch it tomorrow, like on a replay, just let people talk and then let them have the platform, so put them on the stage. I appreciate
Yeah, I mean, just one last thing, Brody. I just want to tell you. So when I went back in December to the Coliseum, dude, I never went on the field for fireworks or anything. I stayed in my seat. So this is my first time.
Yeah.
And so I got an invite, went down there. The field is gone. The diamond's gone.
Yeah, I know.
They just finished. They were finishing up the soccer field. But what really blew my mind was the dugouts were still there. The green and gold was still there.
Yeah.
You go to the back, all the A's stuff is still there. You go to the back to the the back offices, it's all still Oakland A's. I'm like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Like, are they waiting to take this stuff out? Like, it
might be years.
Still thinking like if it doesn't work in Sacramento, maybe we'll beg for the A's to take us back and the next season, it's wishful thinking on my part, but I mean, why are they still leaving that stuff up? Just saying.
Well, no, I think, I'll be honest. I think if there is some, dream scenario that requires like miracles to happen, I think what it is that the A's just stay in Sacramento until, like if they were ever to be for sale and somebody were to ever buy them with the idea of bringing them back, it would be, all right, stay here in Sacramento while we build this new stadium. We'll, they would never, ever, ever come back to the Coliseum. That's not even, it's almost like at some point when I said the Giants ought to play a throwback game at Candlestick while Candlestick was still standing, it's like the amount of money it takes to re-up the facility to make it playable. And even for a one-off situation, it's too hard. Once you pull the plug on a retro car or whatever, like once you stop driving an old car, it's really hard to make it work again. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't work the same. So
I know. It's wishful thinking, but I'll let you go, man.
Hey,
Thank you so much for having me on.
I appreciate it. Be safe out there and enjoy the Disco Bay.
Thank you, sir. God bless you and take care.
I appreciate it. Have a good night. All right. Skywalker. Not even on the live chat, on the actual phone chat. So I appreciate that. I'll do one more phone call, and then I do want to close it out with the live chat from the 480. Is this Arizona? Is that where we're at?
Arizona, or as your intro, I should say, here's Steven from Arizona.
You like that guy's voice?
Is that your voice in that intro?
No. It's the voice that we used to have from when I first started at NBC when it was called Comcast Sportsnet, and the guy is out in like Nashville or something, and he does movie trailers, and he does like the NBA. He used to do the NBA on TNT, all that stuff.
Yes, yeah.
I probably have his. While I get this thing going here, I probably have. Let me see here. Let me see if you can. I don't know if you can hear this. The audience should be able to hear this. Oh shoot. I don't know that I have it here. I thought I did. Anyway, I was going to play it for you, but it's somebody else's voice. And it's funny, every time somebody mentions it to me, like that they like that part, I don't even think twice about that part. It's like, it's just so routine and procedural. So I get a kick out of people mentioning it. So Steven, right? It's kind of
your trademark now, though. I feel like I know you flirted with videos about doing like an intro and experimenting with some like intro options for like music wise. But I mean, I feel like you kind of have to stick with it at this point.
It's funny, that, and then the other thing I've always thought about was, here we go. Here's him.
Number one.
You could hear him saying that, right?
Wait, play that one more time.
Number two.
You can hear that or no?
I'll have to watch it on the video and get off.
It's probably, I'm realizing the way my setup is, the audience at home can hear it, but anyway.
Number three.
I'm playing his voice. Oh, here it is. There we go.
Broadcasting live and worldwide.
There he is.
Here's Brody Brazil.
That guy. Anyway, sorry. I was playing it. But yeah, it's, I like the guy's voice. I wish I had that guy's voice. So, but
I feel like you got a good voice though, especially for radio. I mean,
thanks.
By the way, I was going to ask you before we get into our topic here.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever shared with you that you look like Chris Hardwick?
Yeah. I always get a kick out of that one. There's not, I'll say I get, like, I totally understand that, and I think it's pretty accurate. But I don't think I actually really look like him. There are some people I've been shown pictures of, and I'm like, oh, I actually do look like that person. But there's like, he's not identical, but he's close enough. Cheesy looking white guy. That's basically me. So, but no, and I appreciate you saying that also about the intro, because I was thinking there's been a lot of things I've thought about changing here in the home studio, or the way things look, or the graphics, and then every time I even bring it up, people are like, no, we like that. Don't touch anything. I'm like, okay, maybe
I mean, if anything, if you wanted to add a little flair, you need to come up with like a little jingle that you could play after, like, here's Brody Brazil, with like a little, catchy jingle that could kind of also go along with it. I don't know.
Sonic branded.
Maybe that's
like,
just overthinking it.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah. Well, everybody, like NBC's got the da-da-da. Everybody's got their little thing, right? So I'll have to come. Yeah, I need some branding. Good idea. I'll write that.
Hey, I'm hoping that with the NBA going back to NBC, that they bring back that old iconic intro.
They are.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
with the music. Yeah,
Round Ball Rock. Yeah. Da 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 da. Yeah, it's coming back. I think that's pretty much been confirmed. And I hope they don't remix it. Like, the worst thing you could do would be to bring it back and have it sound different. Like, people want 1993, like, Jordan versus the Knicks or Celtics. Like they want they want the Bob Costas version of that song, not a 2025 version. So.
Well, I think that segues perfectly into what I wanted to talk about, actually. So
yeah,
I know you talked about a little bit in one video. I'm hoping that you do more work on this. But one of the things I think about that I'm going to miss as far as nostalgia goes is Sunday Night Baseball. I'm going to miss the John Miller and Joe Morgan and the old Sunday Night Football theme and the Red Sox Yankees rivalries back then with Manny Ramirez and David Ortiz and Alex Rodriguez and Derek Jeter, and just the whole branding of that Sunday Night Baseball. I know it's obviously changed so much in recent years, and I know John Miller is a Bay Area guy, is he not?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he still does the Giants games.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's calling him on the radio, is he not?
He does a little bit of TV work, but he's mostly on the radio, yeah. And still sounding as good as ever, by the way. I mean, it's just, you're right. Like, his voice and him and Joe Morgan, those were the sounds of Sunday Night Baseball for me. And you know what? It's not just that. It was the way that Sunday Night Baseball had like a pregame setup, whether it was Baseball Tonight or Sports Center. Then you'd watch the game, and then there'd be Baseball Tonight right afterwards. And you had to watch Baseball Tonight to see what happened in there. It was such a thing and a vibe. I know that technology and social platforms have changed how people view stuff, but the ESPN and baseball parting ways. I mean, they started their arrangement in 1990. This has been a long-term thing, and this is kind of seismic that they're parting ways, and it sounds like there's no chance they'll even come back to the table on this. So.
Yeah, it makes you wonder where it's going to go, and so that kind of brings me up to what I was going to say, which is, where do you think the future of baseball really is here? I mean, I know Rob Manfred only has a few years left as commissioner.
Right.
They're going to have his tenure.
Sorry, I was just going to say they're also going to have probably a work stoppage, it sounds like, after
2026, right?
Right, whether it impedes on the next season or not, or whether they can just hash it out in the offseason. Like, that's still, to your point, that's still looming as well, too, right? Not just Manfred retiring, but also this is going to happen before he retires. So, yeah, they've got a lot of stuff going on, and not all of it's great, I'll say.
I feel like there's been a lot of negative stuff. I mean, I'm also a huge football fan, and there's always so much excitement even during the off season. You got free agency starting on Monday. You got the NFL scouting combine going on this weekend, or this week, I should say. You got the draft coming up in a couple months. Like, there's always something going on that keeps football fans engaged and excited about the sport. You think about baseball and free agency, that drags all the way into spring training at times.
Right.
There seems to be no way of really, baseball is doing a really terrible job at marketing that sport. And I grew up around baseball, being from the 480 in Arizona. Mm-hmm. I've actually been on your show before, so thanks for having me again as a live caller. But
absolutely,
I'm a big Diamondback fan, and I'm glad they finally got all that stuff taken care of. It sounds like with the funding and moving forward with Chase Field and keeping the Diamondbacks in Arizona at least. But this sport has changed so much since I was a kid. I mean, I'm 30 now, and so growing up around the 2001 World Series team and seeing how different baseball was when I was a child to now. I mean, now you got things like the pitch clock, right? You're kind of now having the ABS system. It's a wild world, and I feel like Manfred has really just done. It's interesting because he was supposed to be a commissioner for the owners, right? Like, that was his whole thing when he I guess, relieved Bud Selig, but he was supposed to be a big owner's guy, right?
Well, and he's proven to be. I mean, if you just look at the A's situation alone and the fact that, I'm sorry, I forgot to turn off my call waiting here. If you just look at the owners and the way that they've acted in the A's situation, I mean, they'll just back whatever the team wants to do. Like, they'll take care of other owners. So to your point, who stood up for Oakland fans? Like, does the commissioner just represent the owners, and then the Players Association represents the players? Who represents the fans in all of this?
Right.
Yeah. No. Manfred has very much been a proponent or a leader of the owners and kind of their interests. And I guess that's who his bosses are. So it should be no surprise, but he's really gone heavy in that. Whereas I think, like, in the NBA, Adam Silver, I think he genuinely cares about the product. And when people are criticizing the NBA lately, he's like, all right, we do have something going on here. We really should listen to this and fix it. Versus baseball is like, huh? Can't hear you. What? Can't what? Never mind. We're going to move a team. Like, you can't see it.
And what does it say? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, you can't see, but I threw up here on my screen. The people watching the stream can see this. This is actually, you're getting a sneak peek of a future video I'm going to do. It's got the Minecraft logo, the Fortnite logo, the Pokemon Go logo, and the Major League Baseball logo. And I know some things are popular with kids. Like right now, kids love Minecraft. My son, he's not even 8 yet. He loves watching Minecraft videos. He's not into Fortnite yet, but I know every kid is. Pokemon Go, he loves it. But like Major League Baseball, is it popular with kids? And I say that like in a little bit of concern that if you don't plant this seed now, and to your point, when you were growing up, you were interested in baseball. So was I. And I'm not blaming these other things for existing. I'm just saying there's so many other things out there for kids to be interested in that if you're kind of killing baseball already with TV deals and moving teams and all that stuff, and then you're not also catering to the young fan, and it's hard for kids with a short attention span to pay attention to games or go to games because it's too expensive, you're basically like wiping away any chance of having a thriving future as baseball as a sport, baseball as a league, baseball as a business. So anyway, that was my little short preview and rant of a future video, but you're onto something. I definitely think
awesome.
You're onto something.
Well, and so two things I wanted to add to at least to this conversation, which is or number one, I guess I should say, is what does it say that we're going into a major league sport for the season starting here in a few months or next month, right?
Yeah.
And we have two teams that are playing in minor league stadiums.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's just a huge. I think when we look back at the Manfred era, we're going to look at that. We're going to think about how he took the A's away from Oakland. I think that's going to have some comparables in the future, as it did when I'm drawing a blank on his name, old NBA commissioner that moved the Sonics to
David
Oakland,
Stern, yeah,
to the Thunder.
David Stern, yeah.
I feel like we're going to look at this 10 years from now and look at Manfred and go, that was a huge mistake. We should have kept the Athletics in Oakland. Like, that is a historic franchise. You think about the old Oakland A's, you think of the Ricky Hendersons, you think of the Raleigh Fingers. There's such a history there, and I feel like Manfred's really just been a stain on baseball. And to your point about how you express interest, I feel like the one thing that baseball does really, really well, and you see it especially in the sport, is the diversity, right? You have a lot of players that are from different parts of the country, from the world.
Sure. And
it's very popular, as you can see in other areas, right? You got a lot of players from the Dominican, you got a lot of Hispanic players, you got all kinds of diversity as far as Major League Baseball is concerned. You don't really see that all that much in, say, football or even the NBA. But to appeal to a younger audience and everything, I think that's where do you think the future of baseball lies as far as TV contracts? Do you think we go into a more direction of kind of what the NFL has done, as far as you think there'd be more nationally broadcasted games? Do you think a deal strikes up with Fox or something, or do they go streaming and create their own platforms? I know they're kind of doing that already for a few teams, the Diamondbacks being one of them, with the D-backs TV. I think Padres, like everyone in that division is pretty much having to get their production done by MLB.
Right.
So where do you see that going in the future? I'd love to, and I'm hoping that's kind of an inspiration for maybe a future video as well.
Yeah.
But where do you see that going in the future?
Well, let me first off, I also pulled this up while you were talking. It's Rob Manfred from 2016. Quote, and I mean, the headline here from the LA Times said, baseball commissioner Rob Manfred says MLB would regret if athletics left Oakland. Quote, I am committed to Oakland as a major league site, he said. And he just said the same thing about Tampa, by the way. Like literally, or St. Pete, Tampa Bay, St. Pete, literally said the same thing. It's like, that's the kiss of death. This is like, this is history repeating itself. And his exact quote here is, if we were to leave Oakland, I think 10 years from now, which is 9 years removed from it, we would more likely than not, looking backward, sorry, let me read this again. If we were to leave Oakland, I think 10 years from now, we would be more likely than not looking backward, saying we made a mistake. And it just kind of goes along all the deals. To your point about, the whole ESPN situation, what you asked here is, what do I think the future of it is? I made a video recently just on the streaming idea. It's hard to do streaming because you got to make so much money. You literally need to create the like $5 billion TV deal that they have regionally and nationally to do all in one. You need to have like, I think it was 20 million subscribers at like $275 a season, which is a hard ask in terms of how much you like. The cost is way up there. I mean, a lot of people would pay maybe $200 for all the teams for all season, maybe. But then I don't know.
I mean, that's what I have to pay right now.
Right.
Yeah.
But 20 million people won't do that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But also like,
I mean, and that's
200 is where you're at now. But what if I said it's actually going to be 300 next year? Would you do it?
Yeah. And baseball doesn't have, like, football can do that. Sunday Ticket, they can do that. It's a premium product. There's so many people that are big football fans.
Sunday Ticket is, they don't have the exact numbers on subscriptions for that, but the estimate is anywhere between 4 and 8 million. So if the NFL, as popular as it is, gets 4 to 8 million, do you think baseball can get 20 million? Now,
there's no way.
Baseball can also do some other things. They can also sell their own ads. They can also incorporate sports betting and gambling as part of this product too, and make some of it back. But they also have to pay for production costs. So, like the stream, like in a best case scenario, and I'm saying this as a baseball fan, like I would root for baseball to have one service, one streaming service. You pay X amount of dollar, or you get your choice. Do you want to watch one team's games? Do you want to watch all the team's games? Do you want to watch American or National League or Sundays only or whatever? You can choose whatever you want. But the problem is it's going to be so hard financially to pull that off that I don't know that it's even like a likelihood or a possibility that they could do it that way. They still have to have regional partners and they still have to have revenue streams of multiple different places. So I think making it easy, putting it up. Another thing is putting the games in like 20 different places is hard for fans. There's so many games, number one, but then it's like, the Yankees, for example, like they're on Amazon one day, they're on Yes Network the next day, they're on ESPN the third day, and then they're on something else the fourth day, like a local channel, like WPIX or whatever. So it is so scattered. They have to unify it, but I don't know that they'll be able to sustain that. So the answer is I don't know, but that's kind of an Achilles heel of their business right now is where do you put the games? Where do you put the product? Like that's super important.
Right. And I feel like come the next CBA, they need to get rid of the blackouts. I think that's the worst thing for the sport.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, especially if you're a fan, like if you're a kid right now growing up in Arizona, for example, and you want to watch the Diamondbacks play, but they're, let's say at the 2025 season, I know they'll be ESPN. Let's say they're on ESPN.
Right.
And you can't watch them because they're blacked out. Like, the blackouts are just, I think, to me, one of the worst things in the sport that have slowly died the viewership over the years. As far as just big inconvenience for fans. And it's just, I don't know what they have to gain from doing that, other than trying to keep people directed to the regional networks. But, I mean, even then, like, we've seen what's happened to the Bally Sports and everything. And is regional networks really the way to go with TV kind of slowly dying off and streaming becoming the biggest thing? And even and this might surprise you, but even when as someone living in Arizona, I was thrilled when Matashiba announced, hey, we're going to broadcast every Suns game on over the antenna,
right.
Channel 3,
right.
your local Channel 3 station in Arizona. I know that was a huge topic as far as, wow, like, why would you do that? He said, hey, look, we're going to make up the money because we're going to increase our viewership. Right. We're going to get more people engaged than if they were watching over a premium subscription cable network channel. And, you know, what's funny is YouTube TV no longer carries my local channel 3. They dropped it. And they dropped it like a month or two after that deal was struck because guess what happened? That price. Network then was asking for more money, and they could no longer afford to carry them and drop them.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder, is regional really even the way to go as far as growing the sport? So
I mean, coming from working in that business for as long as I did, I mean, I think I don't even need to say it, but there's a lot of concern surrounding just the stability, the longevity of it. It dominated for so long, but that's the problem, right? Like anything in sports and in business, anything that usually has its lifespan like that eventually lessens or can't maintain, the productivity of it. It's hard to sustain, right? And especially with, technology has changed so much. When RSN started, there was no such thing as streaming a game, or you don't want to watch it on your phone or your Apple TV device. And then how do they license it? I mean, it's just so many elements came to play there that, that obviously forced their hand. So yeah, but I will say this, there's a lot of teams in a lot of markets right now that have really good regional deals. They don't want to touch anything right now. You know what I'm saying? Like
Dodgers.
Yeah, well,
Dodgers.
Right. Dodgers or Yankees or I think the Cubs we could switch from different sports, but there's a lot of teams that have ownership stakes in their regional network, and they're like, streaming, we don't no, we're good. Everybody's fine. There's a lot of teams in mid-panic situations, and then there's other teams like, shh, don't touch anything. Like they just don't want it to change. So that's also part of this deal. Like even when baseball gets to a point where they should move on to like a next technology, there's going to be some stragglers who are like, no, we don't, they're going to be very much against it. Like not in my backyard type situation. So
yeah. And I think that even shows even more of just the disparity between markets and teams, why the Yankees are the Yankees, the Dodgers are the Dodgers, and then the Rays are the Rays. And, you have these other smaller market teams that are always struggling to try to put a winning product out there. So,
yeah.
And I mean, we haven't even touched on the salary floors or any of that in this phone call, but I'll save some time for the next caller. But
no, I appreciate it.
I really hope that you do some videos on that, especially as far as any talks that might be concerned with moving forward with any of the technology or the new CBA and lockouts and just kind of what the future holds for baseball. Because as a fan, it is something I'm kind of paying attention to. And I would have to say, even at this point, football is my favorite sport over baseball now. And I think a lot of that just has to do with the changes to the game over the years, especially with the whole financial aspects between markets. So thank you, Brody.
Absolutely.
Until next time. And, it's been great chatting late. I'm enjoying watching you here on the stream before bed. So
my pleasure. I'm glad we got to connect again. And you're very well educated into all this stuff. So it's easy to talk to you and it's fun to talk to you. So I appreciate that.
Thanks, man.
I watch
a lot of your videos. So.
Well, then we really are on the same wavelength. Thank you for calling in today.
You're teaching me, man. So,
yeah,
absolutely.
I try. All right. Have a good night.
We'll see you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right. I said I was going to do a little bit more here on the live chat. I think I'm actually just going to, let's see here. Nope. I want to do that. Yep. That's what I wanted to do. I'm going to bring up the live chat here that I can put up on the screen. Let's see where we're at here. Yes, we can do that. Gloria says Antenna TV is how I found interest in hockey. Yeah, you want to put yourself a little bit everywhere, right? I mean, in social media nowadays, you've got that avenue to reach almost everybody, which is kind of nice. Skywalker, all caps. Skywalker has been on the super chat. Skywalker's been on the phone. Skywalker is still in the chat. I do appreciate that. Boy, there's a lot of conversation here in the chat about what we were just talking about. AJ says 2026 first-round pick for Wallman. AJ breaking the news here on my live stream. To me, I didn't know that, right? I've been, see, did I have any texts? Oh, it's my phone. Phone is already in sleep mode. It's like, it's 11 o'clock. You should be sleeping. 24-hour. Oh, Matthew wants me to do the 24-hour stream. You know, I've considered that. I really have, and especially here with the home studio and all the setup I could do. I mean, I could do it in a different room in my house, like where the couch is, maybe. So I could, like, you could just watch me sleep for a while. But then, are you really streaming if you're sleeping? And do you think I could fall asleep knowing that people are watching me on a live stream? Sleep. I think I would have some reservations about that. I don't know that I'd be able to fall asleep. When is the next stream? That's a great question. Ooh, look at those donuts. It should be sooner than later. Like, I hope the next one I do is not in May. It's got to be at least in April. Hopefully another one I can do in March, but we'll see. Mine is in silent mode too. Honestly, my phone is in silent mode 95% of the time. I wanted to also show everybody something here real quick. You may have noticed that, look, even during the course of my live stream, I've changed the background. I now have the ability here to, do you want one that's, this is the one I had up there before. I was going to say, do you want to, yep, I want to repeat it. That's the one I had up there before. I made a whole video about this, how I can change it. I'm thinking about also getting rid of all the social platform logos. I just don't know what else to put there. You know, I don't want to say, ooh, subscribe. It's like, well, yeah, there's a button down there for that. And I flash little things on the screen, on the videos. I don't want to overwhelm you with subscribing all the time. Does that help? Like if it says subscribe up there? I just don't know what else to put. Here's the one thing I wanted to show everybody, though. Everybody might remember and recall. Here, I'll show you in a second. The old wood picture frame I had up there. So I thought, well, what if I took the original image and made it into a video and put a little bit of like the moving particles. So basically, here it is. Here's the old, yeah, you remember this? Here's the old picture frame used to sit up there. And so now I've totally replaced it. This thing has been in, like this was in my videos for let's see, from 2019. I think I put this up right before 2020. So this was in my videos for almost 5 years. And now it's just kind of relegated to the top of the shelf up there. Poor thing. Anyway, so I can change that to be whatever I want. Maybe I'll make something new. Let's see what everybody else said. No more Twitter bird. Yeah, you know, that was the thing, right? I had Twitter on there forever, and then people were like, are you ever going to change that? And honestly, like, I feel like I'm not feeling old X. Really not feeling old X. Yeah, Paul's saying you should return the Twitter logo back. And look, I've got different, like, I'm not loving Facebook either. I'm not necessarily, you know, it's fine. I share my work on there. I don't participate. I love YouTube. I love YouTube as a platform and as a channel. Like, I love, like, 'cause on YouTube, you have to create something. On Twitter, it's like, well, I'll just type something mean. Okay. On Facebook, I guess it's kind of the same thing. I'll use my real face and name, and then I'll type something mean. And on Instagram, it's like, let me flex on everybody every single day. So, I don't know. Dodger Blue, appreciated the tips for the YouTube channel. Starting your own channel this weekend. Would love to collaborate someday. You're in Vegas, so A's talk is on the table. I don't care. Yeah, you know what? Whatever happens down there for them, I'll be interested. Like, I'll still follow. And I saw that some new renderings came out today, but are they really new? Like, are they a whole lot different from before? Or is it basically just the same thing and it doesn't show us much new? Yeah. At this point, please put a shovel in the ground, Start funneling the money towards the project. Get it going. You've danced around a whole bunch here. Start doing the thing. Just start doing it. Sharks have now 2 first-round picks in 2025 and 2 first-round picks in 2026. Holy smokes, they're loading up. I love it. Sounds like I need to go to a draft. I went to last draft. It was fun. In Las Vegas, of all places. This one's in LA, and it's going to be centralized, so the teams won't really be there. Starting your aviation channel. Been getting tips from a guy on YouTube called Mentor Pilot. I think I've seen Mentor Pilot. Good luck with that, and good luck with your aviation journey. That's also like a YouTube journey. There's definitely a thing, and then the aviation journey. That's an even harder one, no doubt. I have plans of starting my own channel with a Canucks video vlog and report other teams. Also, a question: what should the Sabres do in the offseason? Has it been 15 years since they made the playoffs? They should probably make the playoffs. Honestly, I don't know. I watched the Sabres the other day because the Sharks played them, but I'm not on the Sabres train enough to feel like I could give you a really good answer there. Yeah, a lot of people are saying that the Dallas Mavericks are taking the A's blueprint for sabotaging the team and then trying to move the team to Las Vegas. Wouldn't that be something? If everybody, wouldn't that, and the owners had to come out and say, no, we're not moving. We're staying here in Dallas. Las Vegas is false. But there's enough connections and reasons for people to think why that might be a thing, or that might be an option, or something that owners would actually be working on. It's kind of sad, right? That the public can see it so clearly, and even when it gets denied, you're like, nope, I still believe that's true because of the actions and what's happened. Can I see when we first subscribed to your channel? I can't. And actually, I'm not saying this disrespectfully. I don't really go through to see who is subscribing or who has been or anything like that. I just don't. There might be a way. I just don't even know. Let's see here. Somebody would love to call in. Unfortunately, I called it a night on the phone lines because I think I'm only going to be on here for just a little bit longer. But I did want to see what the live chat was saying. Yeah, the original blueprint for how to tank a team was on Major League. That is kind of the blueprint, isn't it? Let's see what we got here. Dallas is the 5th largest city in the USA. Won't happen. Oh, in terms of, the Mavs moving. I could be one of those bait and switch situations, like the Mavs get approval to move to Las Vegas and then Dallas gets an expansion team. Like the NBA's done some weird things over time. This wouldn't be the craziest. Yeah, Phoenix is also Dallas, Phoenix, both major top 10 markets. I don't know exactly where they fall, but they're all pretty close. Justin Ishbia buying the White Sox. I thought, it was initially right, the Twins. And then I heard, that there might be some interest in the White Sox. I'm really curious to see the immediate future of the White Sox. Haven't made a video on them in a while because really nothing publicly has happened. But I have a feeling that, come baseball season and come appearances and, we'll see what Mr. Reinsdorf wants to do. And there's just a lot going on there to be understood. The future of a ballpark. Do they really need that? There's just a lot of questions there. Need to have an NBA team back in Seattle. Fully agree. Cuban is the current day Maloof brothers. Well, no, Mark Cuban sold majority ownership of the Mavs, right? So he's not even one of the primary owners of the team anymore. All right. Oh, in your analytics, you can see how long people have subscribed, but it's on the analytics page. I did not know that. Well, I don't know that I'm going to. I don't know that I'm going to go research anybody. Dalton, hey, Brody, really enjoying your game breakdown and tank talks. Thank you. Any other video series idea you're thinking of? Also, has the team given you your title yet? Okay, so there are some behind-the-scenes type things. That's kind of the missing link so far, is that I haven't... Some of these things just need to be discussed and approved, and like, how are we going to do this? And is everybody okay with that? So there are, and I don't want to say what they are, but there are some behind-the-scenes things I'll be able to do and document in the near future to bring your way. So look for those. That's definitely kind of the next step. But the player interviews, I appreciate that. The tank talks, I just wanted to bring the personality out of the players. So that's kind of where we started, and then hopefully we'll evolve it here pretty soon. Yeah, official title, I think I saw it somewhere, and I was like, oh, that's what it is. It's like host and content creator, I think. Something like that. So, it's... I always thought, what if it was a cool title of like, what exactly is that? But it doesn't really matter. It had to be kind of straightforward at some point to describe what I do. So yeah, host and content creator. That's my official title, which all things considered is pretty accurate. All right. I think that might be it. I think I might be wrapping up the old live stream tonight. It has been fun, everybody. It really has, and I appreciate you all for being here. Oh, yeah. Look at Felix. Hey, Felix, good to see you in the chat. Yeah, you know what? I will say this about Macklin. He gets so many requests. He's the obvious one, him and Will, that I've purposely tried to go around them first. Like, get everybody else, too, because when you're around a team and you know who the obvious like talkers or centerpieces are or superstars are. Yeah, but you don't want to overwhelm them. So I've purposely tried to really give them their space. Talk to a lot of other people first. We will get to Smith. We will get to Celebrini sooner than later. But yeah, that's kind of the reason that they just haven't been on yet is basically by preference. So just trying to give them that. All right. We're about to be done. I was on for a good 2 hours here, so it's a good time, though. All right, we will do this again, everybody. Thanks for being here. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends about it. We're going. We're growing. I would say I'm glowing, but I'm pretty tired right now. I'm definitely not glowing. So that's it. The broadcast has basically concluded. I thought this shot was framed up. Maybe I'm not sitting in my spot. Maybe that's why. I thought I was better positioned in that camera angle. Here we go. What is that? Is that the International Space Station? What is that thing on my video? How did that end? This is supposed to be Bay Area scenic shots. Anyway. All right. Good night, everybody. I will see you next time. Peace.